I chain smoke and I say fuck a lot. But I accept myself for the way I am. I accept you too. Viewer discretion advised. From crazydaysandnights.net, Wednesday, March 13th, 2019. Today's blind items. He's doing it. This former A-plus list child actor has decided once and for all to go public with his story of being molested by the A++ lister. He was convinced of it when his pseudo relative told him the whole family always knew what was going on and would cover for him, and that the pseudo relative should never say anything to anyone. The thing is though, the pseudo relative was molested and raped by one of the relatives who told her to keep quiet. Since that happened, she has been in and out of rehab and attempted suicide multiple times. She wants not only the A++ lister exposed, but also all of the other family members who covered it up and did their own molesting.
What kind of evidence do you have that your brother did in fact sexually abuse these young boys?
I want you to know that there aren't really any evidence. The only thing that I know of, and my mother has actually shown me these things, she's the one that was outraged and brought them to me, that were checks that were written to the little boy's parents. And there are 2 checks that I know of that she has shown me, and it's for a substantial amount of money. And she was outraged over it.
How much money and are you certain you know what these checks were for? Let's say that Michael...
I don't know what they were for, but I know they were written to the parents of the little boys that would sleep over.
You're just assuming then that it's hush money. Did your mother ever tell you that this money was being given to the alleged the parents of the alleged victims to keep them quiet?
That's why I can't say that it's hush money. Apparently, it was given for some reason. I don't know why, but I do know that she was outraged during that particular time. This is around 84, mind you, and she would say things like, I can't stand this. He's nothing but a fag. I can't stand this. And I would say, Mother, don't say that. Just because you see a check doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean anything.
But basically...
And that's the way she took it. Now, to this day, she denies it because she has no support. In other words, if she were to go and tell the truth, Michael would drop everything and she would probably be out on the street. So she has to stand by in that way. But the only reason I'm speaking up is because I'm an abused victim. And I don't want to see anyone else hurt like that because I know what it feels like to be hurt.
But basically, I'm sorry, LaToya, I was going to say basically because of these checks shown to you by your mother and the fact that Michael, do you know for sure that he spent 30 nights with this alleged victim?
I have never, ever, Katie, seen Michael in the bed with another boy. Never. I have never seen him. I do know that he would have boys over all the time. One, of course, and they would stay in the room for days. Then they would come out, and then there would be another boy, and he would bring someone else, but never 2 at a time or anything like that. Let me ask you a question. What 35-year-old man do you know that sleeps with little boys and stays with them for a week or 2 weeks or whatever, and sleep in the same bed? I'm asking you this question because this is a valid question. It's very open. Because most people would say, well, this is totally wrong. It's totally unfair.
Yeah, most people might...
And, you know, what you have to remember is that Jordy, I do not know this kid. I have never met this kid. I know nothing about him. But at the same time, I feel bad for him, and no one's caring about Jordy. Jordy is in a very bad position. Even if it's not Michael, his parents have put him in a bad position. And there are a lot of Jordys out there.
Have you talked, LaToya, with your parents since making the statements last night in Tel Aviv?
I haven't spoken to my parents, no.
What's your reaction to what your folks had to say, LaToya?
My mother is very much aware of all the children that were there, all the boys that stayed there. And she is the one who always said that Michael, excuse my expression, but he's a faggot. And she would say, that damn faggot, I can't stand him. And that's what she would say all the time, and she knows it. And now she's denying it, and that's what hurts. But what hurts more than anything else is that if she knew that, then why didn't she say something about it or do something about it or get help because she felt that he was bothering little kids? I didn't understand the fact that he was bothering little kids. I didn't understand why the checks were written. She was the one who was trying to explain these things to me.
You claim
but
that...
now she's denying it and covering it up.
You claim that the reason your mom is siding with Michael is because your parents and the rest of your family are afraid that they'll be cut off financially from him.
He supports every last one of them.
So it's a blind item, so I can't say for sure, but it looks like Macaulay Culkin is ready to come forward, if this is correct. So I'm just going to read it with the names. Macaulay Culkin has decided once and for all to go public with his story of being molested by Michael Jackson. He was convinced of it when Paris Jackson, his pseudo relative, aka his goddaughter, told him the whole family always knew what was going on and would cover for him and say that Paris should never say anything to anyone.
Authorities were called to the Jackson home yesterday after a fight broke out. CNN's Alan Duke has obtained security camera video of the confrontation. This is between Michael's sister Janet and daughter Paris. Alan joins us now. Alan, what more can you tell us? I mean, this is a very fluid situation here.
The video is a very vivid demonstration of the tension that's going on in this very famous family. When you have Janet Jackson, one of the most famous entertainers in the world, you see there with the hat on confronting her niece, Paris Jackson. Appears she's trying to take her cell phone. People who were on the scene told me that she was telling her, give me your cell phone, you shouldn't be tweeting, especially about family matters. Paris fled into what is the security office while Janet and Randy Jackson, you see there, with their cell phones, taking video of Paris. In fact, during this entire thing, they had, and I've seen most of the video, security video of this incident, they had their cell phones out documenting it. Not sure what they were going to do with that video, but it was what Catherine Jackson's, one of her lawyers, called an ambush of Prince and Paris. A very dramatic, it's not the last we're going to hear of this, and the controversies are continuing. I expect we're going to see some court action, whether they're criminal charges here. We're going to see some kind of something play out in court in this Jackson family feud.
Okay, so who's ambushing who here? So Michael Jackson's siblings are ambushing his children? Is that what we're led to believe?
That's what Catherine Jackson's lawyer is saying. I've been out to Calabasas, saw the scene. In fact, I went to the house last night and looked around, and I saw they went through the gate. What they did was they followed Prince and Paris and their car through the gate. There are two gates to get there, and they followed, and the gate actually went down on one of the cars and caused some damage. Then they followed them into the driveway, got out of the car, and basically confronted them. And then, as you see, and then after this happened, they went inside. What happened inside resulted in Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputies being called to the scene. A battery investigation is underway. No arrests have been made, but it's quite a scene when you've got families fighting inside the home of Catherine Jackson.
Right.
The thing is, though, Paris Jackson was molested and raped by one of the relatives who told her to keep quiet.
At 14, she says she was the victim of sexual assault by a much older, complete stranger. I don't want to give too many details, but it was not a good experience at all, and it was really hard for me, and at the time, I didn't tell anybody.
I don't know who that is. I would guess Joe Jackson, though, her grandfather.
Paris says she suffered from serious depression, drug addiction, and attempted suicide multiple times, and that it was only made public once in June 2013.
And it sounds like she wants all of them to be exposed. I guess we shall see. Fucking stoned.